and welcome on in to Adobe Live. My name is Anika and I'm your host today. It is Friday, which is yet another pro tip stream. Hi and welcome on in. If you are watching on YouTube or Behance, we have a live chat. Say hello in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and I will be happy to answer them. I am going to cover Illustrator today and we're going to learn how to create template files, streamline your workflow, learn how to create files for web, print. We're going to learn how to set up your custom brush libraries, how to set up a custom toolbar, change all the preferences. Basically, we're going to customize every single thing we see. All right, I want to say hi to Chad before I get started. So thank you so much for being here. We have Sam, who's our moderator today. Thank you, Sam, for moderating. We have Jack, Sean, Kristen, Asha, SLP Price, Bree, Rick. Hi, welcome on in. Thank you so much. And I asked a question in chat, which is if you guys have ever used the Adobe Illustrator template files. If you have, let me know in the chat and what you use them for. I'm really curious. I have some of the files that I create and I'm going to dive into some of the Illustrator files and something to remember. But let's actually dive into my workspace and see what it looks like. So this is my Illustrator home screen and this is the Learn tab. As you can see, there are tons and tons of tutorials here available to look at. But let's actually click on the new file button and I'm going to create a new file right here. So we have new file and these are all the document profiles you see. I am not sure if you guys use it, but templates are such a time saver. I have a few templates that I make and I usually make a lot of thumbnails. So for my videos, I essentially make like one template for the thumbnail and I'm going to demonstrate that real quick. Before we dive into that, I'm going to show you what templates already exist. So this is the recent tab right over here. You see that there is web, print, and these are all the basics. We have some size differences over here, so you can set up all these files with various sizes. This is the normal HD 16:9, so we have 1920 by 1080 pixels right over here. We have the orientation of the artboards that you can move. So if you make one template with just, like, let's say it's a portrait orientation, all the consequent files you make with that template are going to have the same number of artboards and also the orientation. So let's say this is 3. You can change the bleed if this is for print and you make something repetitive. So if it's like you're using variables in Illustrator and you are making business cards and you're printing it out, you can essentially set up a bleed right over here as well. Obviously, I'm going to change the measurement units as well to inches if I'm doing that. So I'm going to do that and that's just easier for me. Rick in the chat says they set up templates to make it easier to move drawings into After Effects. That's a unique use case. I've never done that and that is actually pretty good. I love to hear it. I love to hear various use cases in chat about how you guys use it. So essentially, if I'm making something like a business card, I'm going to go to the print tab and see if there's like a template here. Now there is no template. Maybe I'll just input that later on, but let's just keep it simple for now. We have this. The CMYK color mode will also signify how you're going to print it. So essentially, if this is a business card, I'm using CMYK. Let's forget about the size right now. It can be anything depending on what country you're in. So let's say it's 3.5 by 2 inches. Let's change that really quickly. And let's say it's 3.5 and 2. Okay, and then I want to say that we have some more settings right here and the raster effect settings are 300. Now I've set these to 300 just because there can be some situations where I'm doing illustration and I want the Photoshop effects that I apply to my styles to be high resolution. So I use 300 ppi, but we have more settings right in here, which is showing me all the other ones. We have bleed in here. You can change the units and you can change stuff in here as well. Now, the thing to notice here is, wait, can you see that? No. Right above me, right over here, there's a templates button that you can use to add a template. Now, there are a lot of blank templates that already exist that come with Illustrator. So this, once I open and click on the templates button right over here, I click on it and this shows all of the blank templates that I have. The ones on here, the banner ads, banner presentation, all of these are default templates and it comes with the Illustrator application files and folders and I can select any of these. Let's say I want a banner ads template and I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to click new. it's going to forget about all the settings I just did because I use the template instead. And this is one way to actually use a template file, right? So this is the template. This is what it looks like. The workspace doesn't look like it's being affected. This was what I had initially, and this is just like the artboard sizes. So if I go to window, artboards, and take a look at it, we have all of these artboard sizes right above me. You can see that this is the artboards panel. You can go ahead and arrange all of these artboards as well. You have the rearrange artboard button right here. So this is one of the default templates that we have, and I clicked on OK. That's why it rearranged it, and now we have this. If you want, you can save this as your own template. If not, no harm done. You click on X and the template still exists. You do not save it. And one thing to notice here is that it is an untitled file. So the template itself is not affected. You've just created a new file with that template, right? I'm going to click on don't save and go ahead to new file and show you what templates I use, right? So I'm going to go ahead again to more settings. I'm going to go to the templates tab, and here we have some templates. I have a certificate template, a graphic style where I've changed the default graphic style, the default typeface that I use. I have an Let's InDesign. Let's InDesign is actually a show here on Adobe Live. So why don't we click on that and click on new? So this is what this is the thumbnail for the stream next week when we come back from our Thanksgiving break. But this is the template looks like. I'm gonna click on the layers panel and show you what it looks like. Now there's a ton of layers, and this gets really big because you have to make like 10 different thumbnails. I don't want to change any of these placements. So whenever you're creating something like a repetitive task where there are some things that need to be fixed in their location, templates are a great way to do so. So what I'm doing here is essentially that all of these locations, let's say the app icon, the text, the background image, the only thing that's dynamic in this case is the image, which is right over here. The thumbnail, that's the only thing that's different, and the text. So I have these separated on all of these other tabs, and whenever I create a new file with this template, it's going to give me these default locations that I've set already for all of these graphic elements, and that's all I have to do. I can just go into my text panel and say, hey, this is Let's InDesign, and what if I'm doing in review, right? That's the last episode that we're gonna do. So it's in review, and I can just align it again, which is what my default settings are. Everything else remains the same, and it's just streamlining my workflow so much easier. I can even customize my toolbar from right over here. So let's say I create a new file. Before we jump into it, let me show you another template that I use. So we have more settings in here, we have templates, and I'm gonna go in here and show you an illustration brushes template, right? I'm gonna click on new and see what comes up. Now this is a completely different look. I do not know how this is gonna look like, right? I have the brushes panel open. Why was the brushes open? Because in the first file the workspace looked completely different. The brushes panel was open, but in this case, you can customize how everything looks. You can change your workspace. I can go to window, workspace, and I have all of these default workspaces. You can even go ahead and create your new workspace. So let's start with that. I'm gonna go ahead, create a new file, create something for web because that's what I really want to focus on. We have web. I'm going to go RGB and click on create. I'm going to leave everything as is. And I think I want to make like a brush template, or let's actually put all of these here and make like a workspace first. So I'm in the custom workspace that I've created. It's called Anika, but let's actually go to essentials and see what comes up. Everything looks completely different. I don't think you can actually see my toolbar. So let me bring it up here. I think the windows are kind of blocking it. Maybe you can see it now. All right, perfect. Yeah, so you can see that this is the basic toolbar that we have, and I can go ahead and change it to an advanced toolbar if I use all of these tools. But you can even make your own new toolbar, right? So I can click on this button and I can go ahead on the hamburger menu up top. I can click this and say new toolbar, and I can call it Anika's toolbar, for instance, right? I click OK, and then I can go ahead and click and drag in or out whatever tools I want. So I have the shape builder tool, I have eraser. I basically never use the rotate tool, right? I can add this tool right over here. This is the anchor point adding tool. There's a slice tool right over here. Maybe I want that. And if you want, you can just like list it with a list view. There's also a grid view. You can do all of these here as well. And then there's a type tool. So I'm going to bring this up here. I think I use like type on a path a lot of times, so I can actually bring that here instead of this guy. So depending on what kind of work you want to do in this file, if it's graphic work, if it's illustration, you can change the kind of tools you have. So if it's like this was for graphics, okay, and what if I want to create illustrations with this? I probably need a pencil tool, or maybe I use the live paint bucket. I don't even need all of these tools anymore, right? So I'm gonna bring these back. I'm actually gonna make a different view. Let's see. Are they even coming back? They're probably not. Okay, let's see. We add a rectangular grid because that's what we want. We want a polar grid, right? And let's say you're using this for a bar graph, okay? This is what I need. This is the toolbar that I need every single time I open my file. And we have the libraries panel open up. We have the layers panel open up here as well. Now let's go ahead and open up, change the graphic style. Every single time, if you've opened any Illustrator file by default, you would know that if I click M on my keyboard and then drag out a square, this guy has a default fill of white and a black stroke. Now, this is the default graphic style that Illustrator creates for you, and you can change that. So if in case you do not like your Illustrator files to have a white fill, or you wanted a different colored fill, you go ahead, change the color of the fill from right over here. Let me change it to like a gray so we can see it, right? So we have this, and maybe I want the stroke to be very big. I just want to see how this looks, right? And I have this guy, and I want to change the default graphic style. The way you do that is go to Window, you go to Graphic Styles. That's also function F9 for me because I'm working on a Mac. And this is the default graphic style that I see. This default graphic style looks like a white fill and a black stroke. It says option click to add to existing style and control click for a larger preview, right? So what I want to do is I want to override the default graphic style, and I can do that by holding option on my keyboard and clicking on top. It's gonna do that, and as we see, it has changed, right? So every single shape that I now create is gonna have this appearance. So let me click on an ellipse tool and drag out an ellipse. So every single shape that now I create is gonna have the default graphic style, and that's how you can change the default graphic style. So for this file particularly, once I make a template of this file, it's gonna have the same appearance for everything. Okay, now that we're done with default graphic style, I don't really like how the default character style is a Myriad Pro, right? I love this font called Degular from Ono Typeco. I really, really use it in all my designs, and I only want that to be the regular default text, right? Let's go to the type tool, write anything here. Hello world, for instance, okay? Hello world, okay. This is not going to change how it looks. If you think that you're going to change it from here, you're completely wrong. You have to go to Window, Type, and Character Styles. Now, the default character styles, you can see all of these character styles. If you have ever used InDesign, you must have seen this panel right over here. We have character styles and paragraph styles there as well. Again, there is this hamburger menu right above me, and you can click on this hamburger menu and go to character style options from right over here, okay? So we have character style options. I'm going to click on that, and we have all of these character style options. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Can we make this bigger? We cannot. That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna look at chat just in case we have any questions. And also, just as a reminder, after the end of the stream, we will hop into Discord for a live chat. I will be available for the next 30 minutes after the stream. If you want to join in, you can hop on to this link, and this will fetch you to the Discord, and I'll show you how you get inside the Discord and how you can chat there. You can talk to me, interact with me live, and we can talk about everything Illustrator, right? Fun times. Fun Fridays. Pro tips on Illustrator with template files. Okay, so we have general right over here. We have basic character formats as well. This shows me what's the default character style, and I want it to be Degular. So I'm gonna type in that here, and I want it to be like a medium size. Maybe I want it to be very big, so it's like not 24. Maybe like let's make it 48 so we can see it. And I'm gonna click OK. So every single thing that I type now, I make a text box, and it's just gonna have the same default style that you see. It's gonna have Degular, medium, and 48 points, which is what we saw. So yeah, that's my default graphic style. That's my default text style, right? So I don't want this panel to be open when I create a template file. So I'm just gonna leave this be. We have the graphic styles. Maybe I want it next to the layers panels. I'm gonna have it there. And what else? What else? Do you guys have any suggestions? What do you want in your template, right? So there can be brushes as well. What if this is like an illustration file? I know I said this is RGB, so let's actually create this one for just default graphic style, text style, and the workspace, right? So this is how the workspace looks like. We changed the toolbar, we changed the default graphic style, we changed how the text default character style looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on file and I'm gonna save it as a template. So right over here, this is a save as template button. Once I click on it, it's gonna show me this pop-up dialog box, which is gonna show me settings from all of the default existing templates that we have in the Illustrator preferences. So I'm gonna go in here and call this toolbar demo, right? I'm going to click OK and click on save. And this is now an AIT file, which is Illustrator template, Adobe Illustrator template file. This extension essentially means that this is a template file and I can now create a new file. So let me close these. Let me close all of these and actually create don't save and now create a new file from the template. So I go to new file and then I can come in here, click on more settings, click on templates. And right over here is the template that we just created. So it's called toolbar demo. I click on the new button and voila, we have everything as we set up. The toolbar is customized. We can see that all of these add anchor point tools and all of these polar grids and rectangle tools are not available in the toolbar usually, but now they exist because I changed that in the template file. And since I created this file using this template, it was really easy for me and I didn't have to go ahead and change. I don't have to look for anything. I know where exactly everything is. And let's see actually, if I make a new rectangle, what's the default graphic style? So I think it's working, you guys. What? This has the default graphic style, the one that I set. Let's actually create a new style. Let's say hello world, or let's actually say join me on Discord after bit.ly/AI Discord, right? Is that how it is? Let's see. Let's see how it is. Yeah, there you go. So this is essentially how it works. And Rick in the chat brings up a really good point. If you have a permission warning when saving, save to the desktop and use the finder. That's one way to do it. If you have a permission warning, that's essentially because you are in the wrong, you don't have right permissions because essentially okay. Now, I'll let you know why that happens. You have error permissions. It's a -5000 error code, and that happens because you only have read-only permissions, right? Illustrator or any other Adobe application or any application for that matter doesn't want the users to essentially write anything in the application files and preferences. Instead of going the manual way and doing AIT and dragging it to the default folder, I have Illustrator 2023 right over here. This is my applications panel. I'm going to show you right quick. This is the AI 2023 applications folder. I have all of these preferences and files for Illustrator, and the place where you actually store it, the location is under cool extras and it's under ENUS. I go here and this is the template file. So if you're working on a Mac, I'm going to right click on this and go to get info. This is going to show me this file, right? So it says that I have the read and write permissions right over here. Everyone has a read and write permission. And if you're working on a Windows device, it's the same. You can go to properties and do the same, right? So you can change the permissions for the folder itself. And that's going to help you write the file. And that means you can create a new template file within that files and preferences. The other way that someone in chat actually mentioned is dragging it out into this folder. That is also true, but that may also give you an error in case you only have a read-only file. All right, I hope that answers and helps you understand how you can actually save these files. So this is essentially, we were talking about how this has a text frame, and I can go in here and see that this is actually regular medium. So these are all the things that I did in my default template file, and I don't really need to add anything. So this was something for graphic styles and what I can create. Now I can close this, I can don't save it, and I can create something new from a template. Maybe it's an illustration, right? I do a lot of illustration and I use Illustrator for it, and I use very, very specific brushes. You're someone who's been doing it for a long time, and you have a very simple style that you can use halftone brushes for, and you have halftone brushes and you want to use those. So I'm going to go to templates and I have illustration brushes template that I use. I click on new, and I have this right over here. So we have the brushes panel. We have all of these brushes that exist here. I'm going to press Shift Option Command H so you can see it clearly. And this is what you have. So these are all the brushes that exist. I'm going to open my brushes panel right over here. Where is it? Brushes. So these are all the brushes that exist, right? And I want all of these brushes to exist in a template file that I create. But maybe I only want this one. Okay, so I'm going to select it and create like a new thing. Let me go here. And this is what we have. This is only one brush, and I'm just doing it so I don't have to create a new brush again because we are limited on time today. We have these two brushes, and all I want to do is create a new file with these brushes itself. So I'm going to go to new file. I'm going to go to web, and I have something here, and let me go and drag these two out. I'm going to hit on copy, and I'm going to bring it in here. Okay, so we have these two brushes now, and what I want to do is essentially have a file ready for me whenever I want to create an illustration. So I can even go ahead and change my toolbar again, which is something that you can do. You can add like the pencil tool, you can add the smooth tool. I don't want the rectangular grid tool, I don't want a slice tool, I don't want the anchor point. You can remove all of these as and when you want and like, or you can even go and select like an advanced toolbar. So let's just go and select the advanced toolbar. I use all the tools here, so I'm just using the advanced, right? And in this case, I'm going to click OK, press V on my keyboard. I have brushes panel right over here, and we already have these two brushes that we drag the strokes inside here, right? So I'm going to hit delete. I don't need these anymore. And this actually shows me a very cool symbols panel as well. So if you're working with libraries, and if you're working with a lot of assets that are repeating, and if you want your file size to be really small, it's really, symbols really come into picture. Maybe we'll do a pro tip stream on symbols next time. I can come up with that. But with symbols, that can easily bring your file size lesser. There are multiple instances of the same thing, and you can even include that in your template files. So it all comes down to how you really want to articulate and how you really want to customize your particular workflow, and it can change from everybody. Now, what I didn't talk about is color. So what if you're working with one brand and they have 4 different colors, and you only want those colors to use every single time you open it? So let's actually go in here. Maybe this is color 1, and then I'm going to drag it out, Command D a couple times because I want to duplicate it. And then I'm going to go into fill, change the color a bunch of times just so that we have a few different colors in here. And then maybe there's a purple, and maybe there's a yellow for contrast. Okay, so we have these guys. Okay, we have 3 colors. Maybe these are the brand colors for a brand. I can just go ahead and add it to my swatches panel. So I'm going to go to color, go in here, go to my swatches panel. Where are you? Swatches panel, and I don't want all of these, so I can just go to my hamburger menu and go and say delete, select all unused. It's going to select all the unused swatches in this file, and then I'm going to hit delete and click on OK. Now these are the only swatches that exist. I can go ahead and create a group of these. That is essentially, sorry, that was selected. I can create a new group, click OK, and then I can drag these in this group, right? So I have all of these swatches in here. So now this template file will essentially have all of these 5 swatches by default. So let's go ahead. This has brushes, this has swatches, that has a custom toolbar as well. So let's go ahead, create another one. Save as template. I'm going to call it custom illustration. Okay, custom illustration. And then I'm going to create save, right? Now, initially, when I was starting the stream, I said there are 2 ways to actually create a file with an Illustrator template file. So what's the other way? One way was to essentially go ahead and create from within Illustrator. But what if someone else has shared a template file with you and you don't really know how to use it because you don't know how to bring it to your applications? A simple way to do that is essentially going to where your file is located. I just created this custom illustration file, and if I double click on it, it's just going to open that file in Illustrator, whatever version you're using, and that's it. Voila, this is the other way to use a template file. And now you can see that in this one, we have all the panels as is wherever I opened it. We have all of these things right over here. We have the layers panel, the graphic styles as well. In this one, it is the default graphic style because I did not change anything. The toolbar looks different because that's what we did, but that's it for me today. I hope you learned something about template files and Illustrator. We covered a lot in a very short time. We have another 30 minutes with me in the Discord. So I'm going to show you real quick how you can hop onto the Discord. This is how the Discord looks like. Okay, so this is right over here. Let's see. above me. Yeah, right above me. This is the pro tips after party. And if you click on this button, it's going to open the chat for you. So if you're watching this right now and if you want to chat, if you're shy, you don't want to be in the voice chat or you don't want to talk to someone, you can just type in your questions and I will be happy to answer them. You can even join the voice chat if you click this button right over here. It says join voice. You can join the voice chat and come hang out with me. Ask me all the questions about template files. Maybe we'll learn how to make a halftone brush in the file and make like a custom brush. All right. All right. I hope you come hang out with me in the Discord right after this at 12:30. Thank you so much for being here. Stick around for more Adobe Live programming. We have tons and tons of masterclasses coming up today. So I hope you watch those and I hope you join me in the Discord. But until then, thank you for watching and bye for now. Hello. Can you guys hear me? I've been having issues with my mic lately, so I'm not sure if you can hear me.